You are getting ready to watch something unique in the entire world.
What if this was a perfect world?
Imagine a world where trans was completely understood.
Imagine a world where we were respected just for being who we are.
Imagine a world where we are not targets of violence and discrimination.
Imagine a world where radical conservatives didn't use trans issues to win elections.
To understand this perfect world, it looks like we will need translation. Good evening and welcome to the premiere of Translation, the world's first trans show by the community educating our allies. It's 9 p.m. Monday, May 31st, and I'm Tony Lima, CEO of Ariana Center Trans Latina Florida, and I'm very proud to introduce these amazing trans hosts on the world's first trans talk show. Let's welcome Misty Eyez. She is the Director of Transgender Services, Education and Training and Women's Services at SunServe, one of America's most important nonprofit LGBTQ healthcare service providers. Good evening, Misty.
Good evening, Tony, and this pilot has me so excited. Now, let's welcome Camille Lewis. She is the founder of Trans Illuminati program and the Empowerment Program Manager for Empower You. Good evening, Camille.
Good evening, Mr. And I too am excited. Let's welcome Rajee Narinesingh. She is an institutional name made famous on countless reality TV appearances, including E's Botched. She is a trans activist, actress, spiritualist, author, and the outreach advocate for Trans Social, one of the nation's most important trans advocacy organizations. Good evening, Rajee.
Well, good evening, and it's just so wonderful to be with you all. Let's welcome Schaffer Zaret. Schaffer is new in her transition process. She is the Development Director for Pride Lines, one of Florida's most important LGBTQ advocacy and service providers for LGBTQ plus youth. Good evening, Schaffer.
Good evening. Let's also welcome Ariana Lint, well-known international Latinx trans activist, openly living with HIV, and president and founder for Ariana Center. Ariana Center is one of the most important trans-focused service and advocacy organizations in our nation. The nonprofit focuses on the services for trans women of color, trans men, and gender nonconforming people in Florida, in Puerto Rico, and the South. Ariana is also one of the foremost advocates across the country focused on ending the HIV epidemic. Good evening, Ariana.
Good evening to everybody. I'm so excited and happy to be in this historical show tonight.
So good evening again. Let's dive right into translation.
We begin with a breaking news bulletin we call Trans Alert. Fox News and Tucker Carlson declare war on the trans community using Leslie Stahl and 60 Minutes. Watch this.
Okay, so that was that. You got your prescription for testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Being a woman just isn't working for me anymore. Okay, here's some life-altering drugs. That's all it took. And then it kept going. Within just 4 months, Grace Lindinsky-Smith was in the operating room having a double mastectomy.
I can't believe that I transitioned and detransitioned, including hormones and surgery, in the course of like less than 1 year. It's completely crazy.
It's completely crazy. Yes, it is. It is completely crazy. It's also reckless and cruel and totally unethical. So you've got to wonder if the geniuses behind the current revolution have thought through the consequences of it. Let's say you started telling the entire population, starting in preschool, that if you don't like the sex you were born with, you can change it. You were a boy, now you're a girl. All you have to do is say so. When you tell people that, what are you really saying? Well, you're telling them they're God, they're omnipotent with the power to alter the most profound physical realities purely by wishing it so. If you say that enough, a lot of people are going to believe you. So you shouldn't be surprised when they don't stop with gender transition. Why would they stop? If you could control nature, you'd probably make a lot of improvements. If you can change your sex, why can't you change your race? That's a serious question. Please explain. Why can't you change your race? Race is far less fundamental to human biology than sex is. And by the way, why can't you change your height or your eye color or your shoe size? For that matter, why can't you change your vaccination status?
On Tuesday's Tucker Carlson Tonight, Tucker started the show with praise for 60 Minutes. Now that's something we never thought most of the cable news hosts would ever say. He was discussing a segment on this week's 60 Minutes where Leslie Stahl discussed the lack of proper health care for transgender individuals. Part of that lack of health care included individuals not given proper pre-transition, who then chose to de-transition. Tucker took this as proof that liberals are playing God and forcing children into transitioning against their will. He then compared transgender individuals to trans-vaxxers and claims people should be able to identify as taller or another race or anything they choose. All Fox News shows followed up on Carlson's story. Fox has had more than 150 anti-LGBTQ stories, mostly aimed at the transgender community, already this year in 2021.
Can anyone say hater? I mean, my God. Like, he seems like he's out to get our community. Really?
Yeah. For you to say that people are playing God, how can, and no one can play God. I've been taught I have a learned behavior or those have a born behavior. Me, myself, I have a born behavior. You can't tell me that I just can't up and just say what works for me.
And I mean, come on, what's the percentage of people that detransition? What's the percentage of that?
It's a very 0.007.
Right. There you go.
But I think it's very important what when the TV showed to the people, and his comment is attack us as a community. That's why it's so important to get these programs and these shows to talking about it and aggressing. Who is him? I don't know who is him. I'm Latina, I'm sorry, but I don't know who is him.
You don't know who he is?
No, I don't know who is that.
And although her words are very important, because of the fact she said it's crazy, he's taking that literal. She's not calling herself crazy. She's not calling the transition process crazy. For her, in her mind, her thought process is, this is all crazy. He's new.
He's using this thing to be against our community. Like, you know, her interview, it's only one person, and I respect her story. That's her journey.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, come on, this is one person. And like you were saying, Misty, look at the percentage. It's like so small.
In SunServe, I've been at SunServe for 6 years, and I've helped over 1,000 clients help with their transgender journey. Has it happened that somebody detransitioned? Yes, but over 1,000 clients, maybe 3, maybe 4 total, 2 of which were over 65 years old. Transitioning to me in my personal life has been the hardest, most difficult, challenging thing I have ever done. And I have been to hell and back, ladies and gentlemen. Hell and back.
I think I saw you
difficult. It is difficult, girl.
I saw you there.
And yes, we're going to do those challenges. Yes, I'm going to try to change my voice. Yes, I'm going to try to change my face. Yes, I'm going to pay for breast implants. $65,000 with a facial immunization. Yes, I need hormones. Maybe it's going to be really hard. And when I'm climbing that huge hill mountain, it's maybe going to be tempting to turn around and come back down.
You know what the worst part is, ladies? That this is the #1 show on Fox right now.
Yeah.
So to Ariana's point, this is the hate that's being spewed out there to the masses, which is why we need shows like
And it's
Translation.
openly accepted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why we are here.
At Translation, we will follow an amusing social media trans stories. One is #TransLOL. These are tweets, memes, or other interesting moments created by trans people about the trans community. Tonight, trans people are funny. #TransLOL is called Transphobia is just trash with extra letters. Let's look at this meme together, ladies. What do we think?
I think we thought at first, what does it mean? What does it mean, literally? What does it mean? But at the end of the day, transphobia is exactly that, trash.
It is.
And we kind of take out the trash.
TRAS adding H. You're right. It makes sense to me. Transphobia is trash. as an entertainer, let me say this. As entertainers, we have to laugh at ourselves.
We do.
I do applaud this segment. I do applaud this category because if you're not laughing at yourself, you're going to cry.
Exactly right. If you don't laugh, you cry. And my thing is, we can make fun of ourselves. We have a right to do that. And it's almost like, it's almost like we're taking power back from the people. But don't, call me out my name if you're not trans.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm allowed to make fun of myself.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the jokes I normally tell about myself is I say, because I'm so tall, I say I'm scratching Jesus' feet.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I say
You're a tall girl. Wait, hold on. You're tall?
Yeah. No, you're tall too. So we both are scratching Jesus' feet at the same time. It's because, but I can do that. Because I empower myself.
I mean, it's like lighten up. Like we have it hard as it is. Like we need to laugh sometime. If we take everything so serious, I mean,
We need a laugh.
Yeah.
If we are going to truly explore the trans community, we must also focus on the news. We will bring you the most important news of the week in our segment called Trans is the News.
Trans is the news. Nordstrom will fund hormone therapy for trans people as a part of Pride Month initiative. Retail giant Nordstrom is teaming up with Trans Lifeline and the Digital Queer Healthcare Service folks to fund hormone replacement therapy for transgender people as a part of a Pride Month initiative. The micro grant will pay 100% of costs for a year or 50% for 2 years. The retailer has pledged $100,000 for the program. 75% will be reserved for Black and Indigenous people and people of color. Nordstrom's will also donate a percentage of net sales from their new Be Proud gender inclusive clothing collection to Trans Lifeline. The company will donate a total of $350,000 to support transgender equality across its initiative this year. Bree Barnett, Director of Advancement at the Trans Lifeline, said, quote, Trans Lifeline is thrilled to be partnering with Nordstrom's to invest in the transformational power of peer support and redistribute resources to trans people. The historic gift will be instrumental in helping us answer over 225,000 calls this year, and it will also provide 100 people with a year saving medical care, end quote. Applications are available through June 1st to celebrate the beginning of Pride Month.
Where do we sign up for this? I've got hundreds of clients. My estradiol alone costs $200 a month.
Exactly.
How do we sign up? Is this for employees only?
And the problem is when they give the funds, the funds don't come into the vulnerable community, right? A lot of transgender, they dealing day by day to hormone replace therapy.
Right.
So I think I love Nordstrom. I'm going to buy in Nordstrom, but also we have to make sure that help is coming to the vulnerable community because.
Right, but my only concern is this just for Pride Month? Like, don't stop there. Like, when the calendar turns, like, we still need that same love. We still need that same support. Trans people normally get the recognition around T-Door, T-Dove, Transgender Day of Remembrance in November. We get all the love and support, but when the calendar turns, it's back to regularly scheduled programs. We still need the same love and support after the fact.
Well, maybe that's part of the ask, ladies. Maybe like to Nordstrom and other companies that are trying to do pride-infused initiatives like this, maybe that's the ask. It's like,
thank you for getting the ball rolling.
Right.
Yeah, now let's push the ball down.
Push it all year long. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, at least it's a start, and I love that they're doing it.
And also Nordstrom, but also federal programs. They have to encourage and help us transgender to hormone replace therapy. So I think right now this administration have a huge moment to helping us as a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I bought my hormones when I first started on the street, black market. I didn't have the access, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And continuing with Trans is the News. NCAA selects 3 states with transgender athlete bans as regional hosts for softball tournament. Last month, the NCAA Board of Governors, which is comprised of university presidents and chancellors across all levels of college athletics, issued a statement saying it, quote, firmly and unequivocally supports the opportunity for transgender student athletes to compete in college sports, end quote. The statement implied that decisions on hosting for major postseason events, such as the World Series, would be impacted by legislation limiting participation for transgender athletes, which has been signed into law in 5 states and introduced in a dozen more. However, the NCAA is moving forward with events in Alabama, Arkansas, and Tennessee. The decision has angered national and local advocacy groups who have called on the NCAA to take a more forceful stand against transgender discrimination. Rodrigo Hang-Leitinen, the Deputy Executive Director of the National Center for Transgender Equality, said, quote, policies don't mean much unless people are willing to enforce them. If the NCAA wants to be seen as a real leader in the sports anti-discrimination and athlete wellness space, they need to take clear actions to back up their statements on trans inclusion, end quote. The Human Rights Campaign said in a statement, quote, the NCAA should be ashamed of themselves for violating their own policy by choosing to hold championships in states that are not healthy, safe, or free from discrimination for their athletes, end quote.
It's one thing to say, I support the trans community. It's another thing to put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
I'm glad you support us. Now actually support us.
Do something about it.
And what this looks like to me is in a state like Florida, for example, where we have a huge LGBTQ plus community, we're very diverse in the South, regardless of the rest of the state, they're making decisions that are not going to anger people, but in states that are more red leaning, that have some more of these legislation priorities, it looks like they're just kind of appeasing that as well. They're trying to have it both ways, and that's just not going to work.
We have to bring Caitlyn Jenner over here to South Florida and talking about this issue.
She's not the answer.
She's not the answer.
When she becomes governor, okay?
She's not becoming governor, girl.
When she becomes governor. Well, I mean, you know, to me, it's just wishy-washy. And I think people, sometimes they jump on the bandwagon because it's politically correct. But like, you know, are you doing what you're saying? Because it's one thing to speak something. It's another thing to your actions. You
Do you
know?
remember in 2015 when the North Carolina bathroom law said trans people can't use the bathroom, and all those TV shows that were filming in North Carolina pulled out?
Yes.
That was a lot of money they were going to lose. And Florida is saying no trans is already trying to be passed. So imagine the NCAA that is coming to Florida and saying we're not going to have sports here. They would change their tune.
Listen, hit them with their pocketbook, you know, their wallet.
Yes,
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's about money.
Money.
Unfortunately, it's about money. And the thing is that we have to have our voices heard. That's why forums like this and having this discourse and conversation is so important, because ultimately it's about money. So exactly what Misty was saying, we need to push organizations, companies, corporations that are doing this to get out of whatever state is enforcing these hateful laws.
Trans is the news. Elliot Page reveals his chest and abs on Instagram for the first time since coming out. Elliot Page is radiating summer joy. The Oscar nominee, 34 years old, posted a shot of himself shirtless by a pool this week, showing his red swim trunks and his abs. On the post, he wrote, "Trans baby first swimsuit trunks," adding the hashtags transjoy and hashtag trans is beautiful. The shot is the first shirtless of Page that he has posted on Instagram since he's had his surgery earlier this year. According to Google Analytics, this picture has been one of the most top 10 viewed and shared images on the internet.
Why do we think that is? Why do we think this is one of the top shows?
I love a slim body, so
where did those abs come from?
He bought them.
You think he bought those?
Yes. You can go on Amazon and buy new knees.
really?
Where do we get them?
Well, listen, whether he bought them or not, he looks amazing.
Yeah,
he does look
Congratulations,
amazing.
Elliot Page.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We
All
are
the daddies
definitely-
in town.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At Translation, we examine what the trans community as people experience in our world. This next segment is called First Impressions of Trans People, What We Face. Our hosts reflect on their early lessons and impressions of trans people and identity. And we're going to start off with my boss, the lady Ariana. Tell us about what we face, Ariana?
Well, I think this is a crucial moment because we're facing the trans leadership and the true trans leadership. So it's amazing. Programs like this and trans men and trans women right now, they are more visible. And this is what we have to celebrate in Pride also.
Fantastic. Shay, how about you? Tell us about what we face.
Well, we face discrimination, we face hateful rhetoric, we face misunderstanding, and it's time to put our face forward and start to offer visibility in the community, which can help dispel that and just bring about positivity, which is so important.
Fantastic. Rajee, how about you? Tell us about what we face.
Wow. I mean, since the age of 4, I've felt like I've been in a gender war. I mean, that's when I started hearing the words like faggot and sissy. And, you know, even though we trans people have come a long way, we still have a long way to go. And it's almost like, you know, I go out and when I walk into a place, if they don't know me, if they don't know who I am, right away, all the stigma of our community is placed right on me. They judge me right off.
Which, does that happen a lot? Because
it does.
Everybody knows who you are, Rajee. You're a star.
Your flattery's going to get you everywhere, Tony. Oh my God.
I'm counting on it. I'm counting on it. Camille, how about you? Tell us about what we face.
We face a constant call for resilience because every day when we wake up and we adorn ourselves in our desired gender, who we are truly, we have to put one foot in front of the other unapologetically.
Amen.
So we have a constant need, we face a constant call for constant resilience, constant resilience.
Fantastic. Misty, close us off.
Well, many of us trans people face communities and people and family and society who does not treat us as people. And therefore we face suicidal ideation and the fear of self-hatred and not being worthy. We face hating ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is why we need translation. Up next, this is our trans issue of the week. Each week we will focus on what we think the entire trans community is talking about. So it's June, and that means Pride Month. Our history shows the 1969 riots at Stonewall in New York were led by trans icons Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, but Pride might be perceived differently in the trans community. Remember, the Stonewall riots were the first Pride parade. So our translation issue of the week is June Pride. What does it mean to you?
It means visibility, it means togetherness, it means joy and jubilation, but also means asking ourselves tough questions and being prepared to take on tough statements too. I mean, it is a fun, exciting time, but it's pivotal, it's crucial.
Pride is a moment of reflection.
Yes.
Am I being the person that I want to see during Pride Month? Because oftentimes we do have negative connotations that's attached to us as being itchy, as being rude, as being aggressive, as being argumentative. We have all of that stuff. So also Pride gives us a month of reflection. Are we being the pride that we want to see? Are we being the infectious pride in a good way?
You know, I always say same boat, different compartment. And, you know, what I've seen from like when I first came out and going to the gay clubs is the segregation in our community. Like, you know, the gays of the gays and the girls. Yeah, exactly. And so one thing that I find when I'm at a Pride Festival, it's the one time a year that I truly feel unified. You know, I truly feel
Really?
like I do.
Really?
Now I do.
Well, tell us about that.
Yeah,
I want to know how.
Well, it depends on where you celebrate Pride, because actually, you know, like a Pride for Lauderdale right now, they give micro grants to a trans vulnerable community.
Yes.
And that is part of the helping transgender community and celebrate Pride. Because, you know, I'm so tired as a transgender woman, as a trans Latina, all the time in Pride say people, oh, I love Pride because I see a kid with a mother, but they don't know about transgender, they're living behind the bridge or whatever. So that is no Pride. So now I think it's more visibility for transgender people, most leadership for transgender people. Yes. And the Pride people have to know the leadership of the transgender is about inclusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, Pride is about living unapologetically. It's about living authentically. It's about being who and what you are. And like you just touched on, I've emceed Pride in Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Street Festival from 2005 until this year. Well, not last year because COVID. But the amazing thing you can see on that main stage is gays, straights, bisexuals, transsexuals, non-binary, genderqueer, families, relatives, all kinds of people in one place. And I always make them look around because our community as LGBTQ people is full of segregating. Oh, the bears don't talk to the drag queens. The drag queens don't talk to whatever. The twink boys don't talk to the lesbians. And the lesbians don't talk. And we're so busy about pushing each other down, even within our own community. Women, trans women are not exclusionary. We are always competing with each other and trying to look better than. And even as a drag queen, I remember when I first started doing drag, where did you get the eyeliner? The store. Because they didn't want to tell me where to get the eyeliner. But in Pride, we can love each other and walk down the street as one human family.
I mean, and let's face it, there's power in unity.
It is.
Absolutely.
I mean, really. There is.
Well, we're showing that at this table right now. Right? I have a question, though. As the only cisgender person sitting at the table, I'm getting a sense that this year's Pride, oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Most people don't, right?
Former bear,
That's
now
why I'm here.
cisgender man.
Yes. But we're coming out of something huge with this COVID, right? And for me,
Sure.
Pride, it means that this year there's a bit of a renaissance. We get to enjoy each other again. Do
Love
we
and
think-
hug each other.
Absolutely.
that.
Is there a new opportunity to redefine that unity that we're all calling
I think
for?
so. I think this
I
is the
hope
reset
so.
button. I think this.
I think
this
so.
is the reset opportunity where we all just stop and press the reset button and, like Misty said, look and see that this is my brother, my sister, my whoever to my left
ma'am.
and to my right and behind me. So yes, I
We
think
can go
this
off
is
and
the
show
reset.
off our new COVID bodies.
And to that point, imagine all of the people who, like myself, who have come out in this last year as trans, who for the first time ever will be able to walk in a pride
In a dress?
in a dress, with my wig, you
That's
know, with my
beautiful.
makeup. I mean,
That's
I'm
so
really excited.
beautiful.
I'm nervous, but I'm really excited because there is strength in numbers
Just
and we
be
are united.
unapologetically you.
Yes,
Just-
exactly.
And we're all going to be there with you.
Yeah.
We're all going to be there with you, walking along.
I'm so
But it's
happy
important.
for you.
Thank
It's
you.
important to people who they management the Pride contact us as a transgender community because we need to be inclusion and we need we want to work together and that is the most important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's a good way to end this segment, right? We need
Yeah.
to ask our prides to be extra inclusionary of our trans community this
hear.
year and every year moving forward. Now is the time, as you said, to hit that reset
Hit the
button.
reset button.
And that's
Yes.
what we have to
Yes.
push for.
And also,
Yes,
on your
amen.
thought, we need to talk to our trans brothers and sisters who hide. Come
Yes.
out of your house and come out and celebrate
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
Show up in numbers.
Yes. And next, big news for our trans community. The world's most popular international Spanish language network, Telemundo, has selected our very own Ariana Lint and Tony Lima of Ariana Center to be featured in their first ever and historic educational campaign, Unstoppable Pride, to be featured throughout the month of June on the network and all of its digital and broadcast platforms. The campaign highlights a diverse set of prideful and supportive LGBTQ duos, a brother and a sister, a mother and a daughter, a niece and her uncle, and close colleagues and friends of a trans person and cis advocate. That's Ariana and Tony. In the series of ads, Ariana and Tony talk about their sense of pride as LGBTQ leaders. They highlight their cisgender and transgender professional partnership in running Ariana Center and talk about the very special friendship they've shared over the years. The campaign launches on Tuesday, June 1st, when Ariana and Tony will make an appearance on Telemundo's top-rated morning show, Hoy Día. Be sure to watch Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. and then throughout June Pride Month.
This is beautiful.
I think so.
Yes,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Oh, what's amazing.
Visibility.
I think it's very important because many of the Latin television,
Yes.
they don't include us as a LGBT community. And this is the first campaign of one Latin network of the TV. Right, and when we received the email, we are very, very
Oh
proud
my
and happy.
God.
And that day we spent one day, wonderful with Tony. I love it.
We were there 14 hours.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Shooting all
Yeah.
sorts of scenes, interviews and stuff. And it was such a beautiful way to remember what makes our friendship and our love for each other special.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a lot of cisgender folks and trans folks working together so closely.
What was
No matter what marginalized community we are talking about, we need allies. All marginalized
Yeah.
communities.
Yeah.
People of color, Latina, trans, LGBT. And that is very important that you are going to put your neck and be an advocate and an ally for our community. We thank you for that.
So Ariana, are you going to be on a telenovela giving us soap opera drama?
I'm looking in contracts first.
Ay, caramba.
Call her agent.
Yes.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank
Yes,
you.
congratulations.
I'm so happy for you.
I think each transgender person has a one angel in the LGBT community. Maybe gay or lesbian or bisexual, whatever. But for me, my angel in this time is Tony. And we proud that we
You're gonna make
show
me
that
cry,
to the show.
girl. That's so beautiful.
I don't cry, please.
She always makes me cry.
Telenovela drama. That's that telenovela drama.
Focus.
Here we go.
All right, up next, we are going to do a lightning round of some of the trans topics in the news. We call this segment Trans Poppin' Fresh. So we are going to tell you a headline in the news this week, and we're going to discuss it. But there is a plot twist. We only get to discuss this for 1 minute total. That's not 1 minute each girl. 1 minute. Does everybody understand?
Damn it.
Yes.
I thought I got a whole minute.
And no soap.
So let's do this, ladies. Tennessee continues to be one of the worst states in America for trans rights. So trans poppin' fresh headline. Businesses will now be forced to post signs announcing they serve transgender customers in Tennessee. What do we think about this?
Shaming.
Pack your bags and
Shaming.
leave.
We're shaming our allies.
Yes.
And I really pray that people are going to be proud of their allyship and say, yes, trans people
That's
welcome.
right. Stand
Really
up.
But if
stand
it's a
strong.
trans-focused business, you don't have to put it on your door.
Yeah.
You don't. You
Well,
don't have to put it on your door.
That's the whole point of the law. They want to make it so no one supports us.
There is only one bathroom for us, because if it's one only bathroom for us, I can be loved.
But
You know,
that's
also one business.
Also,
my
that's
own
gonna put a
bathroom.
lot of trans
I'm feeling welcome.
On the front line.
That's going to put a lot of
Yes.
trans people at danger,
It
because
is.
what if they're stealth and nobody knows that they're trans?
Exactly.
Now they have to I can't go in there, or
Right.
that's going to really, really hurt a lot of people.
So let's go to the next headline, ladies. Tennessee's neighbor, Alabama, of course we're in Tennessee and Alabama,
Yeah.
has been debating a new state law that would create the worst anti-trans medical care policy in the nation. But then something happened we didn't expect. So trans poppin' fresh headline, one of the nation's worst anti-trans medical care bans has been defeated.
Thank
Yes,
God.
award.
Thank God. I think it's wonderful. I mean, what happened to the Hippocratic Oath? When I heard about this, I was thinking, my God, these are human beings. We are human beings.
Right.
And quoting Martin Luther King, the late, great Martin Luther King Jr., my injustice is a threat to everyone's justice. It really is.
Right.
So I am so happy that it
Again,
died.
advice, back up and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we always say, well, make room at the table. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. No. I can go somewhere else and I can build me a whole nother table all by myself, inclusive with people that can love and embrace me. Back up and hold.
I wish I had the bell so I could be like, yes! Say it again. On to the next headline. The ballroom has been hot. Ryan Murphy delivers for the LGBTQ plus community, and especially for the trans community, for a history-making drama. So trans poppin' fresh headline, it's time. Pose winds down.
Now, I have to admit, I don't watch TV. I do have Netflix, and I can't wait for season 3 to come out on Netflix.
You can binge watch it.
I don't watch Pose.
You don't?
I don't understand.
Well,
I try to watch one episode, but I think it's so irreal for me.
Yeah.
So fantasy
I was
too much.
there. I was there.
Yeah. So
To me, it's so
I'm watching only one. Really?
Yes.
You a fantasy baby. You full of fantasy.
Even no.
Really?
They talk about prostitution. They talk about silicone.
In their way. In their way.
I think
And
they took a real in respect. They took a really deep dive into the life of LGBT, most likely, most important trans, like
Trans.
Misty
Of
says,
color.
Of color.
the black market
Yeah.
silicone, the hormone on the
Yes.
black
Prostitution,
market, prostitution,
HIV,
finding
relationship,
girls,
Really?
finding
And
girls
families
murdered.
disowning you.
really?
Guys
They
only
took a
marrying
deep
you
dive.
because
They
you
took
have
a
a
very
dick
deep
and
dive.
you cut it off and he dumps you.
And let me tell
Yep.
you, when I watch it, it takes me back because I was in Philly, you know, in the late
Wow, you was a
80s. And
young
You watching
girl.
Veneno? You
I'm
watch-
giving my age away.
Nobody watching Veneno.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, you see, it's the same in Pose, but in Spanish.
Oh.
Watching Veneno.
And I've heard Ariana talk about
See,
Veneno,
so-
and the
Yeah.
authenticity of Veneno is striking. It really is an amazing show. What I can say is, I think it was necessary for Ryan Murphy to push forward on the show.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it is
Transgender?
telling
Yes.
our
Ryan Murphy?
stories as well.
No, Ryan
Murphy.
He's a
Eddie
director
Murphy.
agreement.
Eddie Murphy.
No, not
that's
Eddie
Murphy.
No.
Totally different Murphy.
He's a Hollywood producer.
But I understand Ariana's
Hollywood
point. Like,
Yeah.
as a cisgender gay man, if I can throw in my cisgender opinion here,
Your
Please.
privilege.
just a little bit of privilege.
your
Oh my God,
privilege.
I'm Al Ferguson all of a sudden. So what the hard thing for me to watch with Pose this season is that every moment happens to be like a soliloquy, like a speech, like a moment for advocacy and activism, and I just want to see real situations happen.
Season 2 killed it for me. I loved it. Now you're making me nervous for 3.
Yeah.
Well, I love the AIDS thing. They're really addressing the AIDS.
They-
Oh my God!
absolutely.
I mean, I always say I lived through the horror days. That's when they were dropping like flies.
It's true, but the feel-good nature of it and the music
Yes,
and
yes.
the fashions and how fabulous
It's
it
gonna be
is
greatly missed.
incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
So ladies, the mission of Translation is to give our beautiful trans community the voice they deserve. So up next is our segment, What's on Your Mind? I'm going to ask each of the unique and diverse hosts to tell us what we should be thinking about. Here we go. We're going to start off with Ariana. Ariana, what's on your mind this week?
Well, my mind this week is I love it and the visibility what we have. I'm so proud about doing a lot of historical things as this show. You know, we can show the power and we can educate the gay and the lesbian and the whole community when they don't understand the transgender issues or the transgender life. And maybe if you don't understand us, Tony's here to help you understand.
Very well said. Schaffer, how about you? What's on your mind this week?
What's on my mind, especially tonight, is that in my 34 years on this earth, I never thought.
Look good.
Thank you.
We have to say the age.
I never could have imagined in my wildest dreams I'd be sitting at a table as an openly proud trans woman, loved, supported,
Yes.
affirmed, with allies and support. I'm truly grateful for this moment. It's one I'll cherish forever.
Yes, I'm feeling very white.
On that note, Rajee, what's on your mind before Misty and Ariana go at it?
I swear. I mean, you're gonna make me cry again. I mean, that was so beautiful. Well, you know, I'll say this: we as trans people, we've come a long way, but there's still so much work to do, and I think that we have to stay focused on the mission and keep the, you know, trans civil rights movement going. And not just for American trans people, for trans people around the world. There's people that wake up where it's literally life and death every day, you know. And so I just want to say to everyone that's watching, all the trans people around the world, here in America and all over, that we stand with you. That's why we do this show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Rajee. Camille, what's on your mind this week?
What's on my mind is being selfish, being unapologetically
Good.
selfish with your time, your talent. Oftentimes, we give and give and give and give and give, and no one replenishes back into what we're giving. See, our bodies, our minds, our temples is like a car. So we can go so many miles without refueling that car. So oftentimes we have to be very unapologetically selfish with our time, with our talent, with our finance, with everything that is us. Being unapologetically selfish, that's what I'm focusing on. And as I say this to my sisters and my brother, I'm saying it to myself, be unapologetically selfish. Viewers, be unapologetically selfish with your time, your talent, your finances, everything.
I just want to scream, yes! Yes! Misty, how about you? Close us out.
Yes. For those of you watching, if you are an ally, please remember that an ally is a verb. It means accomplice. Help us. When somebody's doing a trans or gay joke, say, hey, stop. Interruptive behavior means ally. If you are a trans person watching the show and you're having transgender thoughts, remember and realize by watching the show, you are not alone. We and all of our diversity and all of our strengths and all of our weaknesses are here with you. You are not alone, and there are other people that are going through and have been through the things that you're feeling right now.
Yes.
What a beautiful message. Thank you, Misty. I love sitting around this table with all of you, such beautiful, strong women. Thank you for letting me be here with you.
That is what you have in your mind?
That's what I have on my mind. As I start to cry.
He doesn't have a mind.
Can you handle us?
Listen,
You better take your vitamins.
Well, that's
Vitamin P.
it. Right. Well, that's it. Translation. This unique forum is a first ever experiment to bring the trans community voice forward. Whether politics, healthcare, mental health, entertainment, and the countless other streams of the trans community and your lives, Translation will be here to explore it all. To talk about it, we end tonight's show with what we call Translation Challenge. To simply help the trans community, you have an opportunity to say goodnight, to remind us how incredible the world of trans really is. A goodnight from Ariana Lint.
Thank you so much, and we are so happy. I am so happy to be in this wonderful show and just waiting for the next shows.
A good night from Rajee.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I feel so blessed to be here with all of you. Do something this week special. Do something special and be nice to somebody, and especially a trans person. If you see a trans person, be nice to that trans person. And on that note, love, peace, and blessings.
Be extra nice. That's right. A good night from Schaffer Zaret.
So to all of you out there that are questioning, that are confused, that are looking for validation and affirmation and love, I send that love to each and every one of you. Look at every one of us. Look at our diversity, our strength, our uniqueness. It all comes from love, and it's coming straight to you.
Thank you, Shay. A good night from Camille Lewis now.
The safest place you can ever create is the one you create for yourself. If you see a safe place in me, create it, because I am you, you are me, we're in this together. Good night.
Yes.
And last but not least, a good night from Misty Eyez.
I want you to look in the mirror. Yes, you, the one watching the show right now. And I want you to say, I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
am amazing.
I am amazing.
And I am worthy.
I am worthy.
No matter who you are beautiful, worthy, and you are amazing. And you need to speak those intentions over your life because you deserve everything.
Thank you, Misty. Well, that's it. Are you going to help the trans community? Hey, L's, G's, B's, and Q's, are you going to support your T's? If you believe trans rights are human rights, then Translation is for you. Share this broadcast, talk about it, like it, and tell the entire LGBTQ community and our allies there is something new. Fox News cannot be the only voice. The trans community deserves more. We hope you agree. If you do, we will see you every Monday night at 9 p.m. providing Translation. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.